And welcome. Welcome everybody to Place Partnership Orientation. I'm Katie Benson, and I just want to thank all of you for investing time with us today. We actually have, or will have, as people are trickling in, 12 top 1% teams on the call today and 7 states represented. We have Hawaii, Arizona, New Jersey, 2 from Missouri, California. We've got 5 partners from California, North Carolina, and then Maine. And so today is not about services that you get as a place partner. It's really more about what your company becomes because you have entire departments already built out for you. Departments that will serve you, departments that are unaffordable for most organizations unless you're Apple, Tesla, or Amazon level. So today, before we get started, we're going to kick off with a message from the co-founder of Place, Mr. Ben Kinney. Hi, Ben.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see all your faces. Excited to be here today and to share with you. Good to see you, Ken and Crystal and Ann and everyone today. I'm Jim. Excited to see you all. Do me a favor. Most of you probably have a piece of paper and a notepad today. Just for my own sanity, write down the 3 biggest problems in your business today. Just write them down for me real quick. Take a second, write down the 3 biggest problems in your business today. Brian, Phil, Holly, JC, Davidson Property Consultants. Now do me a favor. Circle the biggest problem in your business and just throw it into chat for me. Okay, we wrote down the 3 biggest problems in our business. We are circling the number 1 and then put it into chat. So far for participation, Phil gets the only prize. Now, if you wrote down inventory, Holly and Phil, are you talking about the fact that the market doesn't have a lot? Because I should have clarified. I want us to clarify the biggest problem in our business that we can personally affect. Like I can't affect inflation. I can't affect interest rates. Consistent lead gen systems, having training systems to plug people into, agent productivity. Yes, time as well. Systems. Awesome. Awesome. All interesting and true answers. So when Chris and I decided to found Place, we had a vision. We had a vision for the future, which I'll talk about a little bit earlier or later this afternoon, but we also had kind of a vision for all of us that we could build a company that would provide everything that a top agent needed all in one place, and that we would solve the major problems that individuals have in their business. And I want to walk through each one of those with you all today and just have you kind of think about that as you see the value prop today. As you're going through this process, you'll just kind of see how these things plug into each other. The first problem that all of us are going to run into when we transition from being personal producers to actually owning a business is going to be finding and attracting talent to our business. Do me a favor, write these down. Number 1, finding and attracting talent to our business. And I mean this in 2 areas. 1, sales talent, real estate agents. And number 2, operations talent. Having these great people that can support us on the journey. Finding and attracting talent. Now we do this through a variety of ways here at Place, which Katie and our team is going to go through in detail, but easiest way to put it is we're going to make it easy for you to attract and recruit the best talent possible in your market to join your team. This is individuals that are producing as a brand new agent that are producing 20 units or 30 units or 50 units or 80 units. We've helped many of our partners produce high production people to their team, and operational talent, whether it's a director of ops, an ISA, a director of sales, just leverage so that we can get our time back and focus on what matters. That's number one. Number two, if you're great at hiring people and you get those systems into place, we have to get them into production. So Place helps getting your agents and your staff into production quickly, so they don't use up all your time for 3, 6, 9 months and then just end up quitting because they can't afford to stay in real estate. All of us have been through that. We do something called the 86-day plan. I didn't know where it came from. Jolene, my very first hire, came up with it. I'm like, Jolene, why didn't you do a 90-day plan? And she said, because if they don't do what I'm telling them to do in 86 days, I 86 their butt off the team, which cracked me up. So we help get your agents into production super quick. Okay, the number 3 problem in all of our businesses. Once you hire a lot of talent, there's nothing worse. It's like a knife in your heart or like a knife in your guts, and then having somebody that you care about quit. Your top agent who's doing 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, or 100 deals, they walk out in the middle of the night. It just kind of eats our soul. Or that director of ops that you've poured your heart into, you've loaned them money, you've done so many things for them and their family, and all of a sudden one day they leave for a little bit better pay. What we need to implement in our business is retention systems and a retention value prop that gets people to stay in your company for the long term. And we're going to walk through a variety of those models, systems, and things today that all of you could implement if you wanted. We just are making it a little bit easier. That's like paid healthcare for your staff and for your top agents, employee level healthcare, the type of healthcare that you get if you worked at Amazon or Microsoft that can't be excluded if anybody has a pre-existing condition for them or their spouse or their children. Like, all of our people deserve access to that type of healthcare, and at Place, we figured that out. Stock options, 401ks, all options for them to make additional sources of income, like through coaching or training or investing in different consumer services or buildings with us. We have a whole suite of services that I've used for years to keep my top agents in my company so they don't go anywhere. So first 3 problems. Number 1, attracting sales and operational talent to our business. Number 2, getting that talent into production as fast as possible. Number 3, retaining our top people so that when we do bring in talent, they don't go anywhere. And number 4, I've always been jealous when I looked at a big company. Katie kind of mentioned it. When you look at a big company and they have a marketing department and they have an accounting team and they have budgets and they have a P&L and they have a tax person, they have designers and marketing people, they have legal and in-house HR, they have all these different value props that I knew that if I had all of those things in place, that I could start moving even quicker. Not that I couldn't build it on my own, but that I could move quicker. The 4th thing is that every business needs models, systems, departments, and people to support them so that they can do the things that matter, which is work with buyers and sellers and hire people that work with buyers and sellers and find places to invest their money, retain that talent. So Place provides all of that operational talent. Today, you're going to see what I kind of call my own personal board of advisors. A board of advisors is where you have somebody on demand who's the best at what they do. Our CFO, Ross, who you'll have calls with on a monthly basis, he was the CEO of a company called HomeMax that he sold for $230 million. The individual running our consumer services play that allows each one of you to get into the consumer service businesses like mortgage, title, insurance, escrow, etc. He was the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. He grew it from 20,000 agents to 56,000 agents and ran 1,600 franchises. The individual that's going to coach you on hiring talent was the head of people for Keller Williams Realty International. right? The individual that's going to help you in success was the COO of Keller Williams Realty International. Our head of launch came from Realogy, right? Our leaders in training came from Remax and all these different brands. The guy that's going to do a call with you every month to help you on your tech implementation that you're going to meet today, Bob Stewart, built the first real estate team that was working internet leads in the 2000s that did $100 million in a year off of internet lead generation. And he co-founded a company called ActiveRain. He's worked for Zillow, market leader, and Trulia. He's been in the prop tech space for 20 years, and he's Bob Stewart. What I'm telling you is that you have access to a team that's the best at what they do in that specific area. Instead of just having a coach who kind of pretends to be good in every single area, what you end up with is truly the best experts. So what I want to propose to all of you is that what you see today as a value prop of what Place offers is actually becomes your department. This will be your design department, your marketing department, your tech companies, your in-house legal, your HR department, your designers, your marketers. And what I'm doing today is I'm interviewing to be your business partner. And what I mean by that is when you partner with Place, you become an equal partner with Chris and I. You have a vote and Chris and I have a vote. We never trump each other. You're not coming to work for us. We are deciding to partner together. This process is about me interviewing each one of you to see if you're a right match, and for you interviewing us to see if we're a match. And if it is, then we're going to build something awesome together. To date, we've never had a Place partner leave. Over 130, 140 of the top teams in the nation have been joining Place for 6 years, and nobody's ever left. We don't have a single team today that makes less money today than they did a year ago. Everybody makes more money. Everybody has a bigger business. What you'll hear is hear stories of people who were personally 80% of the team's production, and they were good teams. They were doing $1 million or $2 million a year, who now do 4 million or 5 million or 6 million, and they're a small percentage of the team's production. That's transition from being a great salesperson to being truly a phenomenal business owner. You'll get to meet people in our organization that don't just have a real estate team, but own 3 or 4 businesses with us and have bought multiple properties with Chris and myself, because we want to kind of tie each other together so much that we're a part of all areas of our lives. Today, you're going to meet so many of our people, but I'm going to come back in on the call in about 2 hours, and I'm going to open the floor up, and you can all ask me anything you want. There is no question off limits. So as you go through today, you're going to hear a lot of content. Just write your questions down, and you, in about 2 hours, you'll kind of get to hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. I hope you really enjoy getting to see all of our people. I'm excited to talk to each one of you personally, if you have time and if you want to, and then we'll talk as a group at about 10:15. Is that right, Holly?
Yep, that's right.
Holly, Katie. Okay, great.
We're interchangeable.
I was staring at Holly. Everybody have an awesome morning, and I'll see you in just a little bit. Katie, you can take it away to the next step.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it. All right. So as Ben said, today is really for you to have an understanding of all of the departments, the companies, and the expert advisors that you have as a Place partner, with the result of that being a business that scales much more rapidly than anyone else out there. You have everything a large corporation would have. Now, you'll notice in your packet that you have the contact information for each of your department leaders. And the reason for that is if you have more in-depth questions for one of your department leaders, you can spend one-on-one time with any of us. I'm confident that after today, you're going to know in far greater detail the why behind Place partnership and the impact that it will have on you, on your people, and on your financial and business future. When you partner with Place, you have an entire talent attraction department and a new set of talent power tools. How many of you have a chief talent officer on your payroll right now? Well, now you do. This is Holly Priestner. Prior to coming to Place, Holly was vice president and head of people at the #1 real estate company in the world. So, Miss Holly, I would love to hear from you. And would you tell them a little bit about how their new talent attraction department supports them?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Katie and Ben. Pleased to see everyone today. We are excited about turning you and your business into a best place to work. Whenever you join Place, you get to flip the script on how you've been recruiting before because you're no longer adding agents to your team. You're no longer adding operations staff to your team. You're truly adding partners to your team who are going to grow their businesses and their worlds within your world. And what we do is we coach you on how to have those conversations, on how to cast that vision, on how to get clear on what the candidates that you're talking to want in their life, what is their preferred future, and then map out the path to do that. We don't want you to think that you're competing against the real estate team down the hall or the brokerage across the street. You, as a Place partner, will be competing with the best places to work. I'm in Austin. I've actually had the opportunity to lead a Place team. When I say we're competing with the best places to work, we're competing with Google and Indeed and now Tesla. And guess what? What we do at Place is set you up so that you can be competitive with those companies as well as others in the industry.
I
Do you want me
love
to go into the power tools, Katie, or did you have a
I
follow-up?
would love to hear about the kind of talent power tools that are available to them.
So first and foremost, you'll hear me say this over and over again. The talent business is just like your real estate business. So we lead generate, we add METs to our database, we cultivate them over time, and eventually we close the deal, meaning we get into partnership. So all of our power tools are built the same way. It starts with the lead gen systems. We have both lead gen systems that are for you and your operations team, as well as an internet lead gen system. Part of that internet lead gen system is a technology that we have a partnership with that we build a site for you. Your site showcasing your team as the best place to work. And then we have all of the job ads and put it into the site for you. And all you have to do is add some nuances about the amount of experience that you want or the location where you are. And then when you hit send, that job description is automatically syndicated out to all of the top job sites. Indeed, Glassdoor, LinkedIn, Google Jobs, and many, many other sites so that your ad reaches about 95% of job seekers. Whenever someone applies for one of those jobs, it's through your beautiful career site. And it gives them the experience just like that they would have with a major corporation. They can apply through Indeed if they already have a profile. You can put pre-screening questions and they can attach your resume. And then to help you save time so that you can spend more time pouring into your people, all of those leads go into an applicant tracking system. So it's easy for you to dismiss or move through recruiting process. So we have the lead generation for you to do that's supplemented by internet leads. Then we think about cultivating. A lot of what we do is we focus on productive agents. And so, yes, we love new agents and we help you learn how to have conversations with people that might be new agents, but might not be new to being a professional, right? Marketers, executives, educators, people in the hospitality industry that have a proven track record of success. And our big focus is on helping you learn and coaching you to attracting big producers. 10 million, 15 million, 20 million, 30 million, $40 million producers. And when you're in those conversations, that's where cultivating those relationships over time is so important. We have Brivity auto plans that are built for your hot talent long-term nurtures. And we really help you focus on staying in touch in ways that you're adding value to them, focused on their pain points, so that when the time is right, a partnership is a no-brainer. And then, of course, we have all the tools about how to have those conversations and how to bring them on board and mapping out their plan to their preferred future. Ben says that you find out their goals, you show them your value, and then you show them your plan. That's all systematized, all in one place.
I love that. Now, Holly, tell them a little bit about the Recruiting Advanced Placement Program and maybe the results that they can experience from that.
Oh, Katie, I love RAP. That's what we call recruiting advanced placement. If you really want to double down on your talent attraction and your skills and your accountability and the growth of your team, we have this really cool program that we launched in the beginning of this year that Chris Stewart brought from Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. So when Ben mentioned in his intro, we're pulling from the best of the best. We're learning from Stu on how they grew their organizations. And so each and every Monday, Chris and I have all of our wrappers divided into teams. It's a competition. And each and every Monday, we set our goals for the week. And then each and every Friday, we do a recap. What were our wins? What were our challenges? What were our lessons learned? And with that competition, there's a scoring system. We have fun prizes. That makes it fun with that accountability. But the people that are involved in RAP in Q1 outperformed non-rappers on their recruiting efforts by 150%. So if you're serious about that growth of your team, when we think about wanting more inventory and wanting to have agent productivity, that starts with attracting the agents. So if you're serious about that, and if you're serious about taking your team from a team to being the CEO of a business, RAP is a way to fast track that, both your skills and your activities.
I love that it hits multiple points there, Holly. Now, tell me this, what kind of success will they experience with their new talent attraction department? Like, give me your very favorite success story.
I'm going to share two. One is a vague answer. The biggest shift that you're going to see is the quality of the candidates that you're having conversations with. But the example that I love to share that really hits home on how someone leveraged our systems and stayed committed and landed a big fish. Many of you might know Charlotte Mabry. She's one of our operators in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And Charlotte is an icon. And Charlotte started posting, right? We teach best practices on talent lead gen systems. Charlotte used some of our Canva templates and some of our social media language and started posting about our health insurance. And you'll see Teresa Congliocio was interested. She's in a neighboring city, a $35 million producer. And she reached out to Charlotte and said, hey, I want to know more about this health insurance. So Charlotte started the conversation, and using the tactics that we've taught Charlotte, she found out what Teresa's pain points were. And Teresa's pain points is that $35 million in production was all her. And she had no time to scale her business, to do anything personal that was important to her. And she knew that she'd hit a ceiling on her income. At the same time, Teresa was just interested in the health insurance, was not interested in partnership, but Charlotte used our Brevity auto plan and stayed in touch with Teresa over time. Always going back to adding value to Teresa on how to add leverage. The other thing that Charlotte did really funny is Teresa made the comment of, I don't even have time to go get my hair colored. So also every time Charlotte was getting her hair colored, she would send Teresa a text, thinking of you, thinking of you. Now, talent is not an event. Recruiting is not an event. Recruiting is a process. But over the 6 to 9 months that Charlotte and Teresa stayed in touch, Teresa ended up flipping the script and asked Charlotte if she could be her partner. So if you want to think about transforming your business, but also transforming someone else's business and their life, this is how we attract big producers. And it's all about, again, the goals, the value, and the plan.
I love it. And it's about partnership, right? Holly, that was great. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Katie. Y'all have a great day. If you need anything, my email is holly@place.com. Look forward to adding value to you.
Thanks, Holly. Now, how many of you have hesitated in the past to hire agents because of the ridiculous time cost of getting them into production? How many of you have a department that is 100% focused on getting your brand new agents into production once they're hired? Now you do. As a place partner, you have a new agent launch department led by Marley Jackman. She is your dedicated launch coach. And your new agent launch department curated an 86-day, like Ben said, 86-day action-based launch to get your new agents trained up and into immediate production. So let me tell you a little bit about what your new agent launch program covers. It's designed for your newly licensed agents who have closed less than 12 units in the last year. So your new agents come out the other side of those 86 days, having built a really solid foundation of consistent lead generation. They've actually developed skills, scripting skills, presentation skills, prospecting skills, open house skills, circle prospecting skills. They've really learned how to manage themselves and their time blocks such that they've formed habits around the most dollar productive activities. They know how to use the tools in their toolkit. They know how to use place technology. They know how to maximize their SOI conversion. They're actually working their lead funnels and they're actually using their CRM system. Would that be of value to you if you didn't have to spend your time training and developing the new agents that you hire? Now, how many of you have a productivity plan for your experienced agents? Now you do. Let me tell you a little bit about your experienced agent launch. This program is designed for your more experienced agents, those who have closed 12 units or more in the last 12 months. So your experienced agents come out the other side of those 86 days having a much higher level of lead generation mastery. They've really refined and mastered their skill set. They've mastered consistent habits around the most dollar productive activities. They're now creating predictable and duplicatable results at a much higher level than they were in the past. And they too know how to use their power tools and are working their lead funnels and using their CRM system. So what do they learn in launch? In both programs, the focus of that is learning and mastering scripts, lead gen scripts, lead conversion scripts for every lead type, closing scripts, connection scripts, objection handler scripts, learning and mastering presentation skills such that they deliver your listing presentation and your buyer consult in a much more effective way. And then they're really learning and mastering the technology platform and actually using it as leverage to close more transactions with far less effort. They're also learning to, again, master themselves and create a consistent habit of dollar productive action. Now, what can you expect as an operator from your agent launch coach? Here's what happens. She gives you weekly performance updates with suggested coaching questions. So for instance, she might say, John completed 85% of his activities this week. It kind of looks like he's avoiding circle prospecting. Here is your coaching question for John. So you have optics on your new hires' performance and a way to actually help them improve that performance through consistent coaching. You'll have agents that have productive time blocking habits when they come out of that launch. You'll end up with agents who actually use your CRM effectively. You'll have agents with lead generation skills and a tracking habit, so you have optics on performance at all times. You'll have agents with buyer and listing presentation skills. And the most important thing, you will actually have agents with production. That's the most important thing. So we actually track our launch results to kind of measure the effectiveness of the program. So what kind of results can you expect from your launching agents? You can expect, now this is an average, right? So on average, at the end of 86 days, with a very fierce launch coach, and your new agents will end up having pended or closed 3.4 transactions, and your experienced agents will have an average of 9.3 pending or closed. Now we see them coming out of the 86 days with 22. We see them coming out with, less than 9. So the 9.3 is an average across the board for experienced agents. But what about operations launch, right? How many of you love training new operations staff on systems? Yay. Not many of us, right? How many of you have an ops leader launch that's built out where your staff learns systems designed for a 400 plus unit team? Or have you ever lost an operations leader and found that most of what they were doing was all up in their brain and you had no idea how to duplicate that? How many of you even know how to execute the systems necessary to run your business? Yeah, most of us don't, and nor should we. That is exactly why, as a place partner, you have an ops leader launch. Olivia Jelinski is the operations leader for the Ben Kinney home team in Bellingham, Washington. Now, this team closed over 400 units and supported 38 agents in 2021. Do you think having somebody like Olivia might be able to train your operations staff on place systems, maybe give them systems that don't break down when agent pressure or additional transaction pressure is put on those systems, right? Now you have an Olivia training your operations staff. So your operations leader launch happens monthly. And here's what it covers: hiring, training, and managing VAs. Right? That can be a challenge if they've never done it before. So there's a system around it. Priorities and time management for your admin staff, onboarding and offboarding systems, really enhancing team culture. And that's the fun part, because your operations staff can really play a huge part in the energy on your team. They can manage referral systems, tracking and reporting systems. They learn all of this during the operations launch program. Tracking and reporting forever client systems. We ever wished for a system that would actually cultivate your SOI at a really high level and create raving fans? That's what that system is all about. Recruiting systems, marketing systems, technology systems, financial systems. In fact, your operations staff has access to a place toolkit, giving them the very best systems that are used by top 1% teams across the country. So as a place partner, your operations and admin staff have resources. So they're not relying on you to train and develop them and teach them all of those different systems. You speak sales, Olivia speaks systems, and now you have an Olivia to rely on as a place partner. So that is kind of an overview of what happens for your operations team. Now, got to ask you, how many of you find yourselves providing the majority of leads to your agents and then wondering why the heck agents aren't generating their own leads? How many of you have an entire department providing ongoing productivity rhythms for your agents, such that your agents continue to increase their productivity, right? We talked about hiring talent. We talked about launching talent. But what happens next, right? What about slide decks and content for your daily power-ups, for your team meetings? You have all of that now. This is Mr. John Powers. John, are you on the call, my friend? There you are waving at me.
I'm here.
Is John Powers. He has over 2 decades of experience, and John leads a top 1% team in Portland, Oregon for the co-founder of Place, Chris Suarez. John is your agent productivity director. Now, John, did you want to share your slide deck, or do you want me to continue?
You can keep rolling.
All righty, my friend. So, John, what are the most important lead generation related skills that an agent needs to master?
I think the best way, Katie, for us to illustrate that would be through our the lead gen model here, so displayed. So as Katie said before, we want to breed lead generators and not lead receivers on the team. We see this, and also could be used as a recruiting tool or should be. We see this as the guaranteed path to success for an agent within the Place network, and not production eventually, but immediately and quickly. So what you'll see on the left side of this wheel here of our lead gen model are the areas in where we push agents into their activity. So we do that through Sphere, open houses, and prospecting. Now, the Place ecosystem provides all the tools around each one of these, what we used to call our lead gen levers, lead gen components. So the tools, the technology, the scripts, the auto plans, the automation, the websites, the marketing, the design, everything for each one of these lead gen levers is provided by Place. Now, once an agent gets into that consistent success of about 1 to 2 deals per month through the proven systems on the left side of the wheel, that's where we as business owners come in and want to start providing them with some additional resources or leads, right? So that's when we turn on things like internet leads. We can provide listing leads once they're listing certified, of course. through our launch program, which is an amazing part of our launch program where they become listing certified. Things like come list me leads. Oftentimes, like Katie said, or what Ben said earlier on, was that I don't want to do all of the business. So, right, I want to do maybe 5 or 10% of the business. This is where our database that we've built over time, we can start to provide those listing leads for our agents. Some of us have other coveted lead sources like ISAs, or you might have some specialized lead sources in your area, maybe another paid for source that you can then start to supply your agents. Once they embrace the full wheel here, we know that this is a guaranteed path to about 3 to 4 deals per month minimum. We have agents that are exceeding that by far.
I love that it's such an accountable plan. It's not just lopsided where we're providing all the leads for them, but there is some accountability around them actually building their skill in that arena. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Well, so some of the benefits, I would say that from what I've experienced and what a lot of our place partners have experienced through this is that what happens is when we push them into these activities, and quite frankly, we were an open house team, right? We didn't do a lot of like circle prospecting and hammering the phones that way. But when we embrace this model, we find that agents actually build confidence. They figure out that actually circle prospecting isn't that bad. And they can actually have a more well-rounded foundation or solid foundation in their business because they know that they can generate a lead or a listing out of their circle prospecting efforts, right? They're doing open houses at a much higher level. So now they're starting to see the results, breeds confidence, and a super solid foundation for them.
And I love that piece of it because, right, the only reason a lot of times that agents won't actually prospect is around fear, right? The fear of rejection. And so when you think about giving them the tools such that they build that confidence, you've just made a really positive impact on that human.
And we have a huge network all across the country that's sharing wins along this, so they know it's possible.
That's awesome. Now, what have been the results of partners fully implementing their lead gen model?
Well, what I would say is, the results ultimately is production. It's also those possibilities that I talked about, and also building more of that confidence in specific areas of their business that they never thought they had.
Love it. Love it. Now, as a place partner, you have productivity rhythms that keep your agents focused on the most dollar productive activities. So John, can you tell them about some of those rhythms that serve to really create a framework and an environment of productivity?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm a big James Clear fan, Atomic Habits. He has a quote that says that environment is the invisible hand that shapes behavior. So what environments can we create in your business when you partner with Place? Well, we have a few environments, and Katie, maybe the first one we can talk about here is our Power Up and Power Hour structure. Think of this as a morning huddle with your team every single day in the morning, starting the day off right. We're sharing wins, perhaps maybe where the values have showed up in our organization. Place provides a slide deck for your power-ups that gives you the entire structure. You can tweak and modify them. Of course, they're editable, but we also provide at least 10 minutes of content driven into the team every single morning for you. We get into a group huddle, script practice, or Zoom breakouts, depending on if you guys are virtual or in person. They break out and they do role plays. We're practicing on a specific script of the week, so we master that every single week. Again, script provided by Place for you. Amazing way for us to see who's engaged in the team. Emerging leaders can also host this in your organization, and it's a fantastic platform for you to bring recruits into, and so they can get a feel for what you guys do and what environments you're creating every single day for them to be the most productive. After our Power Up goes right into Power Hour, where we're hitting the phones, we're getting into the database, we're clearing out all of our follow-ups for those hot nurture watches, or maybe we're doing brand new lead generation. But we're setting goals for that minimum hour. It's called Power Hour, maybe just because it rhymes a bit, but it's a minimum of an hour. Most teams across our organization are hammering the phones and jumping into this session for the entire morning. Maybe they didn't set the appointment in the first hour, right? So they keep pushing through that second and third. So we're setting goals. We're reminding them to be using the most efficient tools in their business, which is the dialer systems that we provide, the CRMs. We're always helping them with scripts and sharing wins at the end of the day.
That's awesome. So creating that environment then, and having 130 Place teams also doing the same thing every morning, there's a little bit of peer pressure, right? It's like, well, everybody's doing it, so this is normal.
It's a amazing culture builder, and quite frankly got us through the pandemic, and is something that it was really, really tough to really get optics on your team. And so this is an amazing way to do that.
Oh, I bet. Let's talk about call nights.
Well, call night is actually tonight across the Place Network. So it's the third Thursday of every single month. This is a 2-hour focus. This is a monthly rhythm of ours where we can focus on calling. It's a bit of a Sphere Pass client or buyer related lead gen focus. We make these fun. Now you can see the photo to the right. This is Karen in Atlanta. I think she's making fun of us up in the Pacific Northwest with some sort of a like hipster lumberjack vibe here, but they're oftentimes themed with like what Karen did here. We did March Madness themes. We had like a Easter theme recently where we did like a lot of pastels. We're having fun. We're getting them catered. We're getting the team together. We're playing games like Lead Gen Bingo where they can mark boxes off, if they get cussed at, hung up on, all the fun stuff of lead generation that we experience throughout our call sessions. Again, another great funnel for attracting talent. I always, anybody that I'm attracting to the team, I'm always inviting them into these rhythms because I want to see how they play and get along with the agents. Some agents to say, hey, you guys are a little too crazy. You guys do too much lead generation. I'm out. I just kind of wanted to sit back and do some internet leads with you guys. So great way to also exit talent out of your world or non-talent.
I love that. I love that. Put them right into the fire.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite days because in our organization previously, we always lead generated for sellers, right? Throughout kind of randomly, but we never had a day specifically dedicated to across the network. We are focused on inventory creation day, right? It used to be called expired day, but those kind of dried up for a little bit. But guess what? I believe will be on the horizon, the market we're heading into. We might see some of those show up. And as we know that most contracts that we write in listings, in fact, I took a listing the other day, guilty end of August expiration date. So if it won't expire, but if a property is going to expire, it's going to be toward the end of the month. So that first day of the month is critical to get in front of these sellers. So we've designed and architected an environment for us to call these sellers on that day. We're going to start with FSBOs and expires, but then we're going to go into any other seller lead source that we have. Again, we do this is the one opportunity where Place does a place-wide power up in the morning led by Anthony Zapata up in Bellingham. We go through FSBO and expired scripts. We go through the gratitude sessions as well. And then we all break out into our inventory creation day. We'll talk about our training calendar, but everything that we do, our power up decks, our training calendars, everything's focused on sellers in the beginning point of the month to reinforce these environments that we're doing. And again, if you guys have buyer agent models specifically perhaps on your team, this is a great opportunity for buyers agents or someone that just considers themselves a little bit more buyer heavy for them to participate because they get an opportunity to create inventory for their buyers, which in this market, I have 2 weeks of inventory in my market. It's the number one duty of a buyer's agent, in my opinion. Again, invite recruits.
I love it. I love it. What the heck is the 1,000 dial day?
This was something, quite frankly, it made me cringe a little bit when I heard about 1,000 dial day. But 1,000 dial day for us is where an agent on one of our teams, and also part of launch, they're going to be going through 1,000 dial day. That's designed and architected to be a little bit of a stress test. It's also, I'll tell you right now, if an agent can get through 1,000 dials in a day, 150 in a day is no sweat, right? So an agent picks a day that they're going to do their 1,000 dial day. It's kind of this coveted day in our organization. And you can see one of our shout outs here with Aiden, who completed his 1,000 dial day. The goal here is to utilize a power dialer. We use Mojo oftentimes. Sometimes our entire teams will participate. We'll see if maybe we can do a 10,000 dial day. But the mission is to dial 1,000 homeowners and set as many appointments as possible. If you're not doing this currently, but if you were to implement this and you were to have thousands of dials going into the database that you have, imagine the results that can come about just implementing just one piece of these environments that we architect. We even participated last month in a 100,000 dial day. Now that was a place-wide initiative, and we ended up breaking Mojo. So we are in conversation with Mojo to allow some special usage, but we had over 100,000. I think it was about 130,000. We had over 130 people in our organization raise their hand to participate on this day. It's a lot of fun. It shows what's possible, and we get a lot of business out of it.
Man, that's awesome. So you've just described quite a few things that an agent has got to master to remain productive, and how we architect that environment for them. What kind of ongoing support do they receive as place partners in all of this?
Yeah, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but we are constantly coaching and training the entire organization. So Place has, this is a representation of, as you can see, every single day of the week, there is an opportunity for a training. It is all of the lead generation pieces that I just spoke about before are reinforced through daily trainings, as demonstrated here in the training calendar.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. So, John, I'm going to keep you with me for a minute. How
Sure.
many of you have invested heavily into an agent's training and development, only to get them into production, and then they leave your team to build their own team? Ben was talking about it earlier. It's like a knife in the heart. It's not a great feeling, right? You have a retention system that was designed to make it so painful for an agent to leave your team that they would just never dream of it, based on what they would lose if they did. Well, now you do. John, what does their new retention system include?
The retention system for me, this is a model of ours that is near and dear to my heart, because it absolutely, like Katie said, I had when my top producer was about to leave, until we embraced this model right here. So we call this model the path to building a team within a team. So we have a saying that, if you sell about, anywhere from 12 to 24 units within a team within a calendar year, you can stay, right? You'll always have a seat with us. Once they embrace the lead gen model and all of the environments that we talked about, we see agents getting into this production level of getting into that 3 to 4, like I talked about a little bit earlier. At this point, agents start to need a little bit of leverage in their business. In my case, with Hannah on my team, she started to hit a peak of about 33 to 36 units year over year over year. So she was in that higher of a showing assistant, but yet we didn't embrace the leverage model at that point. So once they get into that point, the team will help hire, interview, and find talent through the attraction that we talked about through Holly's session earlier, showing assistants for them. Now, they already have a ton of leverage in their business through our operational systems in our teams already, right? Which allows these agents to hire any agent's favorite leverage, which is, let's get rid of the buyers perhaps on our team, right? And the showings. So we help them leverage that off of their plate through utilizing a showing assistant model. Now, Hannah on my team, she was capped out at that 30 to 36 deals every single year. She started to hit that roadblock. She started to get a lot of people in her ear about, why don't you just start your own team? You're doing so well. Why are you sharing your commissions? Well, once we were able to tap Hannah into the leverage model, now Hannah's growing a family. She had a 1-year-old at the time and a 3-year-old at the time. She's also the one that takes care of those kiddos probably the most. So by embracing the showing assistant model, getting a showing assistant for her, she went from 33 deals up to 70 deals in her first year, all while having more time for her family, less stress. She could eliminate all the weekend showings, be there with the family. She made about 150% more in personal income that year as well. So this model absolutely works. So now she's leveled up now, because now she's at about 70 units. She's pushing for 100 units this year. She's now up to that next level, which is we're hiring a half of an admin for her. So we just recently placed a half of an admin. It helps her with some custom things in her database, some custom marketing pieces that she likes to deploy with her team. And as they level up through here, they can start to embrace a little bit more of that opportunity model, right?
Mm-hmm. I love it. John, that's awesome. It's such a great story too. And the side benefit there is, right, as you've got agents moving through that leverage model, for you as an operator, it's creating layers of leadership within your organization so that you have multiple choices for people that want to step up and take more of a role with the organization.
Hannah is leading the Power Up this morning. She's going to be running our team lead, right? It's a leadership path. And you know, if some of us ever want to get out of production, we're going to have to find that next person to come in and lead the team through that production. And so we're creating a path for leadership there. We would always want to grow within our team, right? Instead of trying to find it outside that aren't familiar with our models and system. And Hannah's definitely on that track.
I love it. John, thank you so much. You're awesome. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
We're going to stay in the retention vein, and all of you have been through the first 2 levels of the place exploration process. So you've all seen your opportunity model. Now, if you'd like more of an in-depth exploration around that opportunity model, whatever growth leader you're working with, I've got a couple of them on the call today, they can definitely hook you up. But here's what I'm going to say. Your opportunity model serves to attract productive agents to you, but then keeps them with you long term. Let me ask you this. Why would an agent leave you if they stand to lose their revenue share income stream, right? Revenue share is a reward that we built into the opportunity model to reward them for talent attraction, whether that's to your local team or whether that's to any place network team. They get an income stream from doing that. Why would an agent be crazy enough to leave you and go back to paying an ungodly amount of money for crappy health insurance? They wouldn't, right? And yet their partnership with you is providing them with affordable healthcare. $167 a month, they got 2 plans to choose from. They deserve that, right? But that also acts as a retention component because they don't want to leave and lose their health insurance. Why would an agent risk losing their stock options by leaving you? They wouldn't. So the opportunity model is really designed to not just reward their levels of production, but to keep them with you because you are part of the income streams that they are creating. Why would an agent leave you when you are responsible for multiple investment opportunities and additional revenue streams into their family's household? They wouldn't. The whole premise of the opportunity model is to pull them closer, is to invest in them, is to help them create other income streams. So much like you, they're not narrowed to just receiving income from their job as a real estate agent, but yet through their partnership with you, they have revenue share, they have affordable health care, they have an opportunity to become a coach or a trainer if they so desire. They can build wealth through stock. Your opportunity model took years to create, and it's yours without the time cost, without the blood, without the sweat, without the pain of agents leaving you. This was created to retain your top people. So it works in conjunction with that leverage model. And again, rewards level of production with both leadership opportunity and monetary reward. So as a place partner, it's yours to retain the talent that you've attracted and attract more talent to that much bigger vision of what they could accomplish for themselves. So we are going to take a quick break before we hit the business systems departments. And there are a lot of them. So I'm going to ask you to be back here at 9:10 Pacific time, 10:10 Mountain time, 11:10 Central time, and 12:10 Eastern time, so that you can get the full view of what your business systems look like. Cool? Enjoy your break. Good to see you, Bob. All right, we are going to get back rolling here, and we are going to start with talking about your business systems department. Go ahead and screen share here. Departments, there's a lot of them. All right. So what we have found is that most tech solutions are not integrated with lead flow. They're not integrated with your CRM. They're not integrated with your MLS, and they are most certainly not integrated with marketing and integrated with transactions as well. Does your tech solution play well with others, or do you have to Zapier it all together? Do you have a technology company that handles every single aspect of your fully connected platform, such that you no longer have to Frankenstein together 18 different technology solutions and figure out how they should talk and play with each other and integrate together. Now you do. Now you have this. This is Bob Stewart. Bob, as Ben said, was the co-founder of Active Rain, and he actually worked inside of Zillow, Trulia, and Market Leader. And Bob is going to explain what your technology company does for you. So Bob, how does their technology department allow them to do more transactions without working more hours?
Katie, we have two, if we want to do more business next year, we want growth. And I think a lot of you guys are here for growth, and I know you're here for other reasons, but if we want growth in our business, we are either going to work more hours or we're going to work more efficiently. And so the Place CRM and really the Place suite of tools that we've spent really Ben's entire career building, all of these things have come out of Ben's business and the models and the systems that now we run across all of our partner businesses. But the Place CRM has a ton of tools designed to help you guys get your time back. Things like lead routing, so we don't have to decide who the leads go to, and auto plans so that our leads are all getting followed up with, and market reports and listing alerts to make sure leads are nurtured. By the way, market reports, I've been doing this for 20 years, you guys, kind of on the tech side of real estate since like they were first putting listings on the internet, at least here in Seattle, way back in the late 90s, early 2000s. These market reports, which really, it's crazy to say this now, but I swear to you guys, had every agent in the real estate industry had in their hands the power to share with your consumers what was happening like in their neighborhood with their neighbor's house, Zillow would not be here. Like they stood up in the middle of our industry using data that we were holding back from consumers. So the market report tools that we have are some of the most opened drip mechanisms that we've ever sent to consumers. So those are amazing, and they help you educate your consumers and get our past clients coming back to us. So we're not, Katie, a part of what Stu or Chris Stewart, our president, likes to call that loyalty gap in real estate, where your customers say they're going to work with you guys and they don't actually come back and do business with us. Yeah. We've built, Katie, the transaction transparency and automation. So, you know, one of the number one complaints in your guys' business, and I don't know if you know this, but when NAR goes and surveys your customers, is that they don't know what happened when you were out there selling their house, and they're unsure of everything that you did for the commission that they paid you. So our system helps them see inside of all of those transactions that you guys are managing for them. And by the way, in Bellingham, we have a lady that managed about 600 transactions in the state of Washington last year using Brivity. Now, she had backup in the form of VA leverage. We'll talk about that here in a minute, Katie, but she managed a massive level. What most teams would have to bring on 4, 5, 6 admin staff, the Brivity CRM makes your transaction management like seamless and in some portions automated. CMAs, Katie, you like that?
Yes, I love that, my friend. Big time.
I like that too. I like that too. CMAs, in a fraction of the time, you guys, we built a mechanism that pulls data in from your MLS and allows you guys to create beautiful CMAs in a fraction of the time of what it would take you from your MLS. A dialer. Does anybody wish their agents could efficiently make more phone calls into the business? Or do you wish you could sit down and bang out a bunch of calls to some past clients maybe, or some Sphere? Texting, reporting. Basically, Katie, we've built over the last, let's say 8 years since we kind of started down the journey of building our own tech, the tools to help you guys get back some of your time. And these tools weren't built by, you know, somebody that's never done real estate, right? These were built by Ben based on the back of his teams, Katie, and the way that we operate here inside the Place ecosystem. So a massive number of tools to kind of get you guys your time back, but it all starts in the center of the tech platform, which is the CRM.
I love that. I love that. Now, how does their technology department really ensure that they have a steady flow of prospects to work?
So yeah, the CRM's pretty useless, Katie, unless there's some people inside there, right? Some stuff kind of flowing through the business. So Ken, you guys, I was reading the recap, Katie, earlier of some of the folks that are joining us here, and there was actually one of you guys in here that does not use a database, which unbelievable. I can't wait to work with that business, because I can't, like, the levels that you've risen to without a database is shocking to me. Like you've done so much business. So now most of you guys have a database, and a lot of you guys have, you know, thousands and thousands of contacts in that thing. But we want to make sure you have a consistent, steady flow. Now we've got all sorts of tools to re-engage those contacts. And I promise you, we're going to help you guys get business out of leads that you generated 3 or 5 years ago, right? Some old Zillow lead you paid for a while back. But the ecosystem that we've built for lead generation around Place, I think is second to none. And it starts really with your guys' custom website, Katie. And that website, I like to call them 99% customizable. You guys can customize everything on that website end to end, except the lead gen levers. Anything that has to do with the lead generation, we keep our hands on that, Paul, because we've been doing this for 20 years and generating real estate leads online. And so we kind of keep control of that last little piece, but you guys can make your websites look like anything you want. Now we've got a home search app that kind of connects up with your website. Consumers can download the home search. It's kind of a shared experience if they're logged in on your website or they're logged in on the home search app. Those things kind of connect and correlate, and everything gets reported back into the CRM. Now, we also manage ad campaigns for you guys. So I think there's people out there capable, Katie, real estate agents capable of running their own ad campaigns, but I do tend to think that an agent that runs their own ad campaigns is like a FSBO, right? They're a FSBO because they're basically saying, look, I can do this against the professionals that do this all day long. That's what a FSBO says, right? Kyle, I can come in and do, I can get my house sold just like Jim could. But the reality is our team sits there all day long and all they do is optimize campaigns and they live in that world. So we'll manage ads for you. And I think some of the coolest stuff that we're doing in that department today is the retargeting and remarketing. Ken, when you, I don't know what you see on the internet. Some of you guys will get to know me. I love shoes. I don't know if you can see my Nike shoe box right there. I've got multiple within arm's reach. So Nike follows me around the internet, you guys. They know what I'm up to, right? They know I like shoes. And Phil, they know if they put that shoe in front of me enough times, I'll take action. And so we follow your database around the internet, showing them similar properties to the ones that they've been looking at on your website. And then we follow your sphere and your past clients around, reinforcing your guys' marketing message to them so that they end up at the end of the day thinking, man, Paul and Lisa must spend $1 million in advertising. Like they're everywhere I go on the internet. And we bring those campaigns to life for you guys. Now, I do think just like if you were in a relationship with a home seller, and you would be out there marketing their property as a professional like we're doing for leads, I think there's still a role for the homeowner in that scenario, right? Letting their friends and family know, letting their coworkers know that their house is for sale. And so you guys, I think, still have a role in your own lead generation, right? Let us go and get that steady flow for you guys, but we've built all kinds of tools for you guys to generate your own leads as well. If you do open houses, we got open house tools. If you guys take listings, which I know all of you guys do, we've got some really simple Facebook ad tools where you guys can run ads against your listings. And we encourage you guys to do that and have people here that can help you understand exactly the best way to do that and formulas and templates for actually posting those ads. The home valuation page, we've got direct mail marketing. If you guys like postcards, or you want to do postcards, or you want to think about doing postcards, we've got stuff for that where we automate it. So every time you take a listing, every time you sell a listing, Katie, it's automatically a postcard campaign ready to send. You don't have to send it. And then in social media collateral, and Josiah we'll talk about some of that stuff that the marketing team makes super simple for you for the lead gen on the social side. But we could spend an hour talking about the lead gen tools. So let's move on here to what we do once we've got some of these people in our database.
Mm-hmm. So then let me ask you this, Bob, there's a lot of really great CRMs out there, but we already know that the best ones are the ones that the agents actually use. So how does your team work with the agents to make sure that they're actually using the technology department at a really high level?
So Kyle, you say hi for a second, Kyle.
Hey, everybody.
So this is Kyle Shores. He runs our Place success team, and they're kind of here on a daily basis to make sure that you guys know how to use the system. So we've got some training that you guys you and your agents during launch get taken through on how to use the CRM. But I think the real key here is that we've created a really simple, and it's not easy, you guys. I don't want you to think that, you guys know this, real estate's not easy. Katie, everybody on this call realizes that real estate, it's hard work. but we've created some simple formulas to allow your agents to show up and win every day. And so between me and Kyle and our team, what we'll do is we'll work with you guys to train your agents on this specific daily approach to working the database. And this approach has been kind of perfected inside of, originally Ben Kinney's businesses, and then Chris Suarez's teams coming in to form Place originally. We have, 128 or however many teams there are today, teams running this playbook, and a massive amount of evidence that we can help kind of showcase to your agents about what running this playbook every day can do for you. Katie, I think there's a lot of amazing things around here. I think one of the things that's really easy to kind of grab onto as a catalyst for the teams that have really had explosive growth is their teams that tap into, John's production rhythms, right? And the things that you guys have heard about that we do from a production side already, and then this routine inside of the database daily. It's highly likely most of you guys in this room, even though you have, built amazing businesses, that you are leaving a massive amount of business on the table inside the database. And it's just, look, every team we've ever come across is doing that. Our highest performing teams continue to leave potential business inside of the database. And so we've just created, a really succinct routine for the agents inside of your guys' business to be able to show up each day and feel like they had a win. And, in real estate, Katie, when you show up each day, you don't always get a win, right? Like a tangible win, like getting a contract signed or getting an appointment set. But we want our people to feel like, what's something, if I show up and did this thing, that's a win for my business. And we've already proven out that if they do this, the compounding of doing this routine day over day over day allows somebody to extract the maximum amount of time out of the database. And then we do other things like, we do audits where we go and we actually give you guys a score so that it gives you guys particular things each month that you can focus on to try to improve. And over time, again, it's the compounding of having this kind of particular routine that we do in the database that's simple, not easy, but over time doing that daily leads to like really massive results inside of your guys' databases. And look, you guys are getting big results already, don't get me wrong, but I promise you there's business on the, being left on the table in those databases. And we love watching our teams get better at extracting it.
Well, and I'm glad that you brought up adoption, right? Because we already know that Place partners, when they adopt the technology system, they end up seeing massive growth. So what are some of the leverage pieces that their tech department will provide to prevent staff and agents from getting overwhelmed?
So virtual professionals is kind of one of our, our killer applications as it relates to leverage. That there's a lot of leverage built into Rivety. Think an auto plan is a leverage point, right? It's like a lead comes in and I'm showing another client a house, or I'm out, having dinner with my honey bunny, hopefully. And it's, and the auto plan does the job that I could have been doing or should have been doing if I was sitting there, right? And so there's a lot of leverage built in. The marketing stuff has a massive amount of leverage, but you do get to a point in your business where you need, another hand on deck, right? Or two more hands on deck, or some of our teams, 4 more hands on deck, right? And our Rivety virtual professionals are, I think, second to none for a couple of reasons. The first one is they come trained on the technology, Katie. So they come trained on Rivety, how to use it and how to help you guys kind of get the maximum amount out of the software. The second thing, most of the time when you get a virtual professional, they're on an island, right? It's like you're there to train them, but our virtual professionals come community supported. And what I mean by that is they've got hundreds of other virtual professionals behind them working in the same platform, but they also have all of those other Place partner virtual professionals and those people collaborate, much like your ops people get an amazing opportunity to collaborate with some of the, like literally the top operations specialists in the entire United States, as a part of the Place group. Your VAs will get a chance to collaborate with other virtual professionals that are supporting some of the biggest teams in the United States as well. They're ridiculously affordable. Like if you guys have ever engaged virtual professionals, you know this, and they're also really good. I tell the story all the time. I had my own virtual professional, the same individual for 5 years, Noel, a super smart kid. Like he wrote better English than I write, which is probably an indictment on my English skills from high school. But like they're amazing, right? Like I would have put him on the phone with any one of our clients, and then there's all sorts of buckets that these people we can have inside sales agents. You guys need help on the phone, and we can make that happen. Transaction coordinator, transaction coordination assistants, or a marketing manager, or just a general admin. And then we also, obviously we can get them full-time. We could also get one part-time, 20 hours, but we can also get them on demand. We can help you guys on demand. There are certain things in your business where you're like, I just need, I need somebody to come in and fix all these tags in my database. It's kind of messy, and I've got 5 different variations of the open house tag, and we have virtual professionals that can come in and help you guys do that kind of stuff. So Katie, I've never once in my life, you guys, talked about our tech stack in 10 minutes or 12 or however. Like we could do this for 3 hours, and it's a really extensive tech stack that I think the coolest thing about is it updates based on your guys' needs. Ben is massively responsive. It's one of, like, as he's kind of growing this thing at a really high level as the CEO of Place. It's one thing that he does never going to let go of is that the tech piece, and he has a hand in every decision, and it all comes from feedback from you guys. So Katie, I'm done. I think that slide was my cue to get out of here. Thank you.
Bob, you're awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Bye, everybody. Have an awesome afternoon.
Thank you. So what would it look like to have a full-blown design department? Would it be a benefit to you to have an entire marketing department? Now, I'm not just talking about a marketing person. I'm talking about an entire marketing team, a team of people dedicated to your creative ideas, led by a lead designer with nearly 2 decades of experience, from tech startups to running his own branding and web design agency. As a Place partner, you have all of that. How many of you are getting really excited right now? So this is Josiah Ubben. This man is so good that Western Washington University actually had him teaching interactive design, and he's actually the creator of the Place brand. So Josiah, what does their new design agency provide?
Yeah, well, first of all, hi, everyone. Secondly, your Place design agency has 27 dedicated designers and creative professionals in it, right? So that team is dedicated to 3 main disciplines. We work on web design, product design, and then visual design and branding, right? So people who eat, sleep, and breathe, what we'll build next in our tech stack and what the features should look like, helping you evolve or elevate your brand, creating designs and templates for you, and building out your website as well.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Now, Josiah, in what ways does their design team help execute their creative ideas and really save time for these Place partners?
Yeah, well, it starts with your branding, right? When you join Place, what we do is we have a consult call with you, and we say, hey, where are you at with your brand? Do you have a lot of brand equity in your area? Are you looking for a refresh? Should we completely start from zero and build a new brand together? We make sure that brand looks great, powered by Place. And we have brand standards in place that make sure it always looks consistent, whether it's on a sign or on your website or on social media, anywhere. We want to make sure you always look good, and that your clients and prospective clients have a really consistent visual experience, right? So on the next slide, you'll see an example of a before and after we did for a team, right? The Booker Group down in Austin. They sell a lot of luxury down there. When they first joined, they had this brand, and we said, let's modernize it, let's update it. They had some really fun ideas, and they've taken this, and together we really ran with this, where it's now been applied to these fun marketing baskets they'll give to their clients with branded cookies and tumblers, and they use it on their social media in really fun ways. And so the first thing we do is branding, right? Let's actually talk about some more custom design options, though, to help you execute creative ideas. This is a specific project where we actually sat down with the Dripping Springs team and said, hey, there's this new development with luxury homes, 2-acre lots, 15 exclusive homes, each one with a custom floor plan and custom build out. And they really wanted to win this business. So we actually created 3 different marketing booklets talking about why they were the right team for the job. When they won the job, we then got to actually develop this custom website for them. We built out the logo and the branding package for Hillside, the name of the community. And then you can see we built this 8-foot sign that sits at the entrance of it too. So an entire marketing and branding suite of offerings to help them win the day, right? That's just one example of a custom type of project we could do.
I love it. I love custom. Let's talk marketing, Josiah. How does their marketing team support their staff and really allow them to do more in less time?
So we realized a lot of your admin's time was spent, in Canva or Photoshop and creating just listed and just sold graphics, and that added up to hours a week, right? They weren't always consistent. Maybe the designs weren't the most professional. And so, our professional visual design team, what we did is we've, in our technology, built out dozens of place exclusive designs and templates where you can immediately execute for a listing or to, post something about, agent health insurance or for recruiting efforts, where within 2 or 3 clicks, you can have a social graphic, a carousel for Instagram stories, or as you can see here in the example, like a video to promote an open house or a just listed property in literally 2 or 3 clicks. So that saves so much time and helps you market both your listings and your team so that you can recruit more agents for your team.
Oh, that's massive. So speaking of recruiting, how does Brivity Marketer support lead generation and recruiting?
Yeah, so Marketer, there's a whole section dedicated to recruiting, which is, hey, here's why you should join the team. Here's the place exclusive value props. And Marketer is step 1. And then step 2 is we actually have these different guides that go along with what you can do online to promote your brand, on social media and virtually, right? So it starts with the buyer experience and the seller experience guides. So these guides, I've got a copy right here. When you feel them, they feel kind of like an Apple product, like when you first open the box, it's got that soft touch coating and you don't want to, toss it. And what we've done is we've taken the very best scripts and models from Ben Kinney and Chris Suarez's organizations. When we built this thing out, every page we all actually poured through together with the entire leadership team to make sure that every word was as it should be. And on the buyer side, you can walk your potential buyers through what the dream of homeownership benefits are, right? From, appreciation and principal reduction and tax savings. Here's why it makes sense to buy, right? And for sellers, here's how we'll market to the different types of buyers out there to make sure that you can cast the widest net and find the right people so you can sell the house for the most amount of money in the least amount of time. Then for recruiting, what we do for marketing is we have the career opportunities guide. So you can walk through this with an agent and say, hey, here's why this is the choice for you. You should join our team because it's going to cost you a lot less than if you try to do it yourself. We'll help you do a lot more business. We'll give you a lot more opportunity, and you'll have more time to live the experiential life you want to live because of our systems and models and back office support, and because of people like our team that make your life easier so you can focus on what you do best, which is buying and selling houses.
That is a fantastic set of tools, my friend. And then look at this, we've got some apparel too. So talk to me through this piece.
Yeah, so another way to market yourselves is through, you can be a walking billboard. You'll notice a lot of the people on the call today have our hats and our hoodies. I've also got my custom placed Nikes on. And, this is a fun piece that your agents can be really excited about. When someone onboards right from the store, the Place store, you can order this Place Experience box, right? And inside the box, you get the tumbler and the branded hat and the stickers and the notebook. And it's a fun touch point, and people love to use those. And when people see it, it causes them to ask questions. And, one of the other really handy things we do is we've made it easy, self-serve for you to order signs, business cards, flyers, you name it, all right from the Place store. And then the last thing that I want to touch on is the Place announcement process. One of the things that our marketing and design team does is when you decide to join, we sit down with you and we come up with this PR strategy. We write an article, you approve it, we get the best poll quotes, and then we put together a branding campaign, right? Where we say, hey, we're now really excited to announce, Nicole with Easton Ivy, right? And we'll post it on our branded social media. we'll have our leaders post it, we'll boost those posts, and then we'll have versions of them created for you, story and posts for you to post on your own social media and your agents to post, and cause a really big splash, right? So that it's an opportunity for you to celebrate and talk to your clients and future agents as to why you decided to be powered by Place.
I love it. Josiah, you're amazing. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So, what we found is that sometimes there's a slight bit of concern around what Place partnership might mean in terms of changes that you would need to make. Can you relate after looking at all of these different things? Because ultimately change sometimes seems like pain. And yet if it leads you down a much faster path towards what you want, wouldn't it be worth it? Wouldn't it be worth it to reach your preferred future in 2 years versus 10 years? Would you endure just a little bit of incremental change if it meant that you could have your freedom? Are you willing to make some small changes in how you're currently operating if the result was a highly profitable business that provided you an income stream that far outweighed any profit margin you were able to create in the past? You're all smart people, so I'm just imagining that you were all saying yes, yes, yes. So let me just ease your mind by telling you that we are not Roto-Rooter, and we do not come in and just rip out all of the things that you've done so far and change everything all at once. You have an operational support division that is unmatched. You have a methodical and easy way to make small shifts in the way that you're currently operating that will create a much bigger result for you at a much more rapid pace than you're currently going. I would like you to meet Ellen Curtis. Ellen was the COO of the largest real estate company in the world prior to joining Place. Ellen leads your partner success team who delivers Place partnership to you on day one. Miss Ellen, good to see you. Please tell them, how does their operational support team support their first 60 days, their first 100 days, their first year as a Place partner?
I think we support them forever, right, Katie? Isn't that what partnership is?
Yes.
But hey, everybody, and thanks for that introduction, Katie, of what my awesome team does. I've been sitting here, I listen to Bob, I listen to Josiah. I'm like more excited today about the value that you all are getting. I mean, Bob was fired, Josiah's team is amazing, and we know that all of you are coming with amazing teams, and it's that partnership that is what makes Place so powerful. So I was sitting there, I was enthralled with what Bob and Josiah were saying. So let's go back and talk about what our partner success team does. Katie mentioned this. We've talked a little bit about, and I know Katie's talked to you about what your operations team does and the support that we'll provide them. But we haven't talked first about how we enable you or launch you. That's our onboarding and launch process. And you're going to join myself and my team and you and your operations team. We're going to come together on a 60-day journey where all of this value, all this best practice gets unpacked in a methodical way so that you can implement the right Place systems at the right time. Again, you continue to hear this word partner. It's in our team's name, and we talk about it at every stage. That's because unlike a customer or a client relationship, partnerships are really based on long-term success. Like Katie said, this is not about 60 days. It's not about a year. It's about forever, as long as you want us and we want to be with you, right? And that's what partnership is. And our business will grow together. So let's take a look at those first 60 days, Katie, if you don't mind. Awesome. You're already there. So look, you all are top producing real estate teams, and you are already operating a big business in the most robust real estate market and competitive market that has existed that any of us have seen. So again, we want to simplify Place for you in a really methodical and meaningful way. We're not going to dive in on each step today, but at the end of 60 days, our goals are this. Number one, you have an immediate operational advantage because we've taken legal, accounting, HR, payroll, health benefits, all that stuff off you and your team's plate, right? That's one of the first things we do. We've rallied your team, and just like Josiah was talking about, we've taken advantage of our excitement and momentum, and we're launching your agents into the place value proposition, either through agent launch, as Katie's told you about, your operations team, through our operations leadership launch. We're getting them plugged in. And we also want to give you that deep understanding from our founders, from all the other department heads that you're hearing from today, of the place value stack, so that you're clear and we are clear as your partner about which pieces matter most to you right now. And we're getting ready to start integrating those deeply and really solidifying that trajectory to your goals. So whether your goals are specifically around productivity, recruiting, integration of our amazing mortgage services, getting your team really dialed into Brivity and your data bank, like Bob was speaking of, we'll work with you to ensure that that roadmap matches where you want to go.
Mm-hmm. So Ellen, it's interesting, right? We understand that every local area is different and every single place partner is different. So how does the operational support team really tailor what the partners receive in their first year with Place?
Yeah, that's a great question, Katie. This is a robust value proposition, right? And we can't possibly implement everything at one time. And your needs are unique. And that's why our support and consultation doesn't end after launch. So when you come into the Place ecosystem as a partner, we're going to give you what we call a business consultant. Katie, can you click? We're going to kind of build here a little bit. And this business consultant is a peer operator. This is someone who has been operating in the Place ecosystem for some time. They are running their team on the Place value stacks. And so they're going to really understand your goals, not just your profit goals and your growth goals, but specifically around how are you recruiting, per agent productivity, and really helping you integrate and apply those models and systems toward your goals. That's in addition to the monthly financial review and your monthly Brivity health score that Bob talked about. You'll also have a partner services concierge. This is part of your leverage team. This is a single point of contact for operators and your staff to navigate all of this, right? Like, you're not going to be able to sit and remember, okay, I go Josiah for marketing and I'm gonna go over here for this and I'm going to go, right? We don't have time for that in our day. And we just want to get to the resource that we need. That's where our concierge team comes into. So this is a single human, a real person assigned to your team. Kim, Grant, Haley, Kimberly, Tim, like, we have a team here. And their mission is to be your ambassador at Place. Consider them a member of your team who gets you the answers when you need them, helps you solve problems, and they kind of project manage some of your needs through Place. So this includes, give it another click, Katie, if you would, handoffs to other hub teams, talent and HR, finance and accounting, Brivity and design, like Josiah was talking about. They're going to kind of shepherd those projects and make sure we're accountable and active in really showing up for you as a partner every day.
I love.
Yeah.
So then in looking at that, it seems like you've got a lot of support, my friend, and I so appreciate you giving us a little dissertation around that.
Yeah, no problem. Nice to meet you all. Can't wait to work with you.
Thanks, Ellen. So legal support, it's kind of an important thing, right? You know, throughout our history of building real estate teams, there seems to be times that maybe we wished we would have talked with a legal department. And then there's been times when we actually did talk with a legal department and it saved us tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Do you right now have an attorney on staff that you pay and have access to 7 days a week? You do now. Let me give you a couple of examples of the things that your legal department is able to help you with. Understand that this is your personal legal department. You do not pay an extra hourly charge when you call your attorney. So the legal department supports you in employee lawsuits, E&O disputes, employee contract creation and implementation, best practices for protecting your assets, team member agreement creation and enforcement for those team members who leave the team and then develop amnesia about which leads were theirs or yours, and then general legal support and advice. There's a lot of services here. Beyond that, every single company needs an HR department so they don't get sued and so they can provide the value that their employees need. But most of the time, we can't afford a first-class HR department. So we try to master all of these things. We try to be the HR department. We try to do it ourselves, and it can really backfire on you. So when you partner with Place, you get your own HR department. So let me tell you what your HR department does for you. There's an employee benefits manager that allows you to offer full benefit packages to your entire staff. I'm talking 401k, death and disability, life insurance, health, dental, medical. Like that's very attractive to employees in today's day and age. Employee termination support. There's a policies handbook that would normally cost you about $7,000 if you employed an employment attorney to actually create it for you. It's a risk management tool. There's employee lawsuit prevention support, time clock administration support, HR support systems, and then general HR support and advice. What we've found with this is that when we're real estate agents, right, we're a little entrepreneurial, which kind of makes us an HR nightmare. So having a team of professionals who actually know the law is really helpful when you're looking at protecting your asset. Now, what we found is that most teams are not as profitable as they could be, nor do they have an executive level CFO advising them on their financials. Most top 1% teams, they don't have a team of 40 plus accountants running their financials because they can't afford it, right? I mean, that's a lot of people. Now, as a Place partner, you have that. So let me share with you some of the things. Let's not go crazy here. Some of the things your financial department does. So as I said, you got a team of 40 plus accountants, tax specialists, budget specialists, controllers, accounts payable specialists, payroll specialists, and financial analysis specialists. You've also got a dedicated accounting expert for your specific business. They do accounts payable. They pay all your bills. They process your payroll. They prepare your business taxes. Nobody loves doing that. They do expense tracking, account reconciliation, transaction verification. All of this saves you time. You get advice on what are 130 other teams doing to optimize their profit. This is a quick little example of the reports that they build out for you. And this is just like the top two sections. Shows you where your GCI is trending, shows you what your margins are, actually goes through KPIs as a percentage of gross commission income. They are very, very, very detailed. But beyond that, you've got monthly profit optimization one-on-one calls with a qualified CFO. They will develop your budget, forecasting, ongoing budget analysis. Let's say you're buying a building or you're entering into a commercial lease. They will do that for you. Maybe you're purchasing a commercial investment property and you need some advice on the deal structure. So they will analyze the investment for you. If you're recruiting a team that is a very large team, sales team acquisition, they'll help you structure the financials around that. Wealth building opportunities. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And at the end of the day, all that means for you is that you can then focus in the area where you have the greatest return for that investment of time. Now, in recent months, I'm going to click this off so that I can see all of your faces. In recent months, most people that we talk with have a little bit of concern around the future of the industry. Have you ever longed for advice? Have you ever wondered like how to protect your business from future market shifts? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have had the foresight to invest in Amazon, Tesla, or Apple before it was actually a publicly traded company? Many of you have already thought of ways to monetize the real estate transaction beyond the purchase and sale of the home, and perhaps maybe just didn't have the time to go figure out all of the pieces. As a Place partner, you are part of the Place movement. That's going to allow you to capitalize on something so big that one of the most prestigious investment firms in the world, Goldman Sachs, chose to invest $100 million in Place. So let's talk about your preferred future. Many of you are already aware that Chris Stewart was the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services of America, because Ben talked about it early this morning. He grew that company from 20,000 agents to nearly 56,000 agents. He runs 1,600 separate franchises. However, Chris's primary job as the president of Place is directing our future and creating opportunities for all of you. So Chris Stewart, what is their new future going to include, my friend?
Thank you for that awesome introduction, Katie. And it's great to meet all of you virtually, and just wanted to extend my appreciation along with our team for all the time that you've all spent talking with our team members up to and including today. We're just super grateful and humbled, with the opportunity to share our story and continue to explore what a relationship would look like. And so, yeah, let's talk about all things related to consumer services and how we think about that opportunity for you and your teams and your businesses moving forward. And, when I think about homeownership services, there's the natural economic opportunity, right? I mean, there's an obvious opportunity from an income and revenue standpoint, but really, I think there's something much bigger at stake here in terms of the companies in the real estate industry that figure out how to deliver great value to homeowners, not just before and during a transaction, but after the transaction and for a lifetime of relationship beyond that initial transaction. And so I think really that's what's at stake. And when I think about that proposition, I like to reference what I call the loyalty gap. And the loyalty gap is something I've been talking about for many, many years in this industry. As Katie shared, my role at Berkshire Hathaway prior to joining Place was as the CEO of the Global Franchise Group. Prior to that, I was in brokerage, just like all of you. And prior to that, built and successfully scaled and sold a mortgage banking company. So just like you've been in this space a long time and think constantly about what I call the loyalty gap, which is this. When you listen to buyers and sellers, real estate customers, 80 to 90% of the time, they love the real estate experience with their agent. 80 to 90% of the time, they say, I would absolutely want to use my same realtor for my next transaction. The challenge is less than 20% actually do. So the problem is we have a customer loyalty or customer retention problem. We're constantly, as an industry, reselling ourselves to regenerate business down the road. And obviously a big part of that is because so many agents churn out of the business. But I think there's a bigger problem. When I talk to a lot of top producers, they admit I don't do a great job of staying connected with my customer. Why? Well, A, because we're trained killers to find our next transaction that's going to close in the next 30, 60, 90 days. But more importantly is, what is my value proposition? What am I saying? What am I delivering? How do I engage that customer in value other than just looking for a referral or the next transaction? And so I think the companies that solve the loyalty gap, which is to say, when they get a customer inside of their organization, they keep them, retain them, and benefit from all the transactions downstream. To solve the loyalty gap, the most successful companies in the industry will deliver what I call an ecosystem, which is all of the related services after, before, during, and after the transaction that add a tremendous amount of value to that homeowner. And they will do so in what I call an intersection of high value. So we have to deliver high value products and services in a way that's very easy to use. We have to remove a lot of the complexity. And so when I think about this ecosystem, we think about what role then does the real estate agent play? And as you see this belief here written on this slide, it seems pretty obvious, and I guess what you would imagine us to say. But I think what we have to be sensitive to is there's a lot of companies right now in our industry that are aimed at delivering this ecosystem approach to customers and removing or significantly diminishing the role of the real estate agent. And then there are other companies that are trying to solve the future challenges of the industry by only focusing on the agent's needs and therefore ignoring the needs of the customer or diminishing the importance of delivering consumer value in a way that's really easy to use or not too complex. And so I want to be clear that this is a key part of Place's vision is how do we deliver this ecosystem approach of products and services right through you directly in your business and your agents. And if I were to visualize that objective, that is represented on this slide, which I'm sure you've all seen before, right? Which is to say, how do we bring all of these related products and services so that we're delivering high value touch points and services to our real estate customer in a way that's merchandised through our real estate agents? This to me is what the industry keeps getting wrong. Because if you look at these businesses, these related businesses, Sure, there's a lot of companies in our industry that provide these services. There's the real estate networks and franchise brands, many of the big brokerages. The challenge, though, is just because a company or brokerage or franchise network checks all the boxes doesn't mean that these services are being delivered at the agent level. And if the agent is disconnected from these services, then it doesn't make its way to the customer. And that's why you see, in my opinion, so many of the companies in our industry that really haven't capitalized on this opportunity to own the homeowner, which consequently is why so many of the publicly traded companies in our space trade for so little. Like if you look at the share price and market cap of a lot of the companies in our industry, they're so low. Why? Because investors are still waiting on a company to deliver on this promise of providing an ecosystem of products and services to own the homeowner. That is our opportunity. And so visually, this is where we're going. And to really put that economic opportunity into context, I just like to be clear that real estate commissions, which is about a $90 to $100 billion business each year, that is just one of three $90 to $100 billion businesses aimed at owning the homeowner. Mortgage itself is another $90 to $100 billion business, as you can see on this slide. Homeownership services, which is all of the services that homeowners buy for routine maintenance and repair, for any type of home improvement, or for any type of emergency repair. Those three categories of service together are almost $700 billion. That's the space that Angie's List and Thumbtack and Porch play in. $700 billion. What's represented on this slide is just a portion of that revenue that real estate companies could earn if they were the connectivity between the homeowner and those service providers. In other words, Angie's List and Thumbtack and Porch. And then you can see the other segments of the industry on this slide. So what I really want to impress upon everyone is there's billions of reasons that we should own the homeowner. Those billions of reasons are in the form of the investment dollars being poured into companies, both private and public, that are aimed at developing these ecosystems and owning our customers, right? And so I think probably the most important thing for our agents to understand is that moving forward, there's going to be huge companies that we're competing with. In other words, competitors in the future won't just be the agents in our marketplace. They're going to be huge organizations, multi-billion-dollar organizations that are aimed at owning the customer, owning the homeownership services segments of the industry, and solving this loyalty gap. In other words, keeping their customers in their ecosystem. So our future competitors won't just be our agents in our market. They'll be big, big companies. And here's the reality. If we don't solve the loyalty gap for ourselves, which is deliver this ecosystem that I displayed on a few slides ago and provide value in multiple touch points in a really easy to use format, these other companies will, and they will then monetize the future real estate transactions in their books of business by selling those same customers back to us for what I call a tariff. The industry calls it a referral fee or a success fee. I call it a tariff, right? So that's what I'm saying. There's something much bigger at stake here than just the pure economics, which is this customer loyalty gap and really keeping our customers inside of our ecosystems. And so when you look at, and again, these are just some logos of some of the companies in these various segments, but when you look at them, they're all aimed at the same objective. In fact, just by way of example, when you look at rocket companies, they're a publicly traded organization. And when you look at their investor deck that they present to Wall Street, part of that story that they're telling is, hey, we're not just a mortgage company, we're a serious player in the real estate business. So last year, they did more than 33,000 real estate transactions. They're really merchandising Rocket Homes. Again, all they're doing is putting someone in their ecosystem and then keeping them there along every single milestone of that homeowner's journey. They're also strategically partnered with State Farm Insurance, which means you might reluctantly or unbeknowingly, right? You might send one of your trusted clients to State Farm to get a quote. Now they're in State Farm's ecosystem. Guess what? State Farm is going to pound them relentlessly to what? Get a refinance with Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage now services all of their loans, which means now Rocket is pounding them so that each subsequent real estate transaction, guess who's going to raise their hand to compete for that? Rocket. And then Rocket's going to put that inside of their relocation and referral network, which means your ability to now compete for all of those downstream transactions just got that much more difficult. You look at a company like Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper is one of the largest mortgage servicers in the United States. I know one of their board members very well. They're going to buy another $150 billion worth of mortgage servicing rights this year to add to their already enormous number of mortgage customers. And this is an example of an email that if your loan is serviced by Mr. Cooper, you're getting relentlessly. You're getting these types of advertisements relentlessly. And you can see in this email just a couple of things. They have programs where their mortgage customers can sign up for listing alerts and market reports. They have a strategic partnership with American Home Shield. They also have a strategic partnership with Realogy, so that now you have a mortgage servicer who has a customer inside of their ecosystem, and they're advertising relentlessly to grab that customer and put them into these other segments of home ownership and monetizing all of the transactions that are involved in that. So when I think about our objective here, which is to solve the loyalty gap by delivering a great ecosystem of related products and services, and doing so at scale on our platform in a way that's merchandised through the agent directly, I think the biggest thing that we have to kind of focus on or think about is this is a long-term game. And the challenge, I think, a lot of times in our industry is that we're very short-term wired, right? We're very transactional, looking for the next deal, a lot of times at the expense of thinking about the longer-term play and what's at stake longer term. And, I always like to say that, the stand we take depends on where we sit, right? So if we sit from a place of I need to find my next deal, we're going to be very short-term oriented. If we sit in a place that says I'm focused on the future, building a great book of business that operates inside of my ecosystem so that I can benefit from all the transactions for a lifetime of this relationship with this customer, then we take a longer-term view. And I get this because when I talk to agents, a lot of times they say, but Chris, I like this vision, but my gosh, I've had a 20-year relationship with my loan officer, and man, they bring donuts to my Tuesday morning sales meeting, or, they provide these other benefits, maybe an incentive trip or something like that. And I say, well, that's great, but that's short term. And the thing about long-term thinking as it relates to owning the homeowner is we should be thinking about how do we retain that customer, keep them inside of our ecosystem, make sure that we get all of those downstream transactions so that we lower our customer acquisition costs, improve our income and profitability, and therefore create more enterprise value. That's really, again, what's at stake here and what we're so inspired to deploy as it relates to these other companies that we're going to stand up and then push through our platform for the benefit of you, your business, your agents, and your customers. And so when we think about the realization of all of those objectives, here's kind of a rough overview of what we're thinking about in terms of timeline. So we started working on a mortgage acquisition project late last year. We're very excited that we're very close to sort of solidifying a letter of intent and getting on with the due diligence involved in purchasing a 50-state licensed mortgage banking platform that we would completely own and operate. And as part of the delivery of that mortgage platform, we will begin to look at things like iBuying and power buying and concierge financing and all of the competitive tools that our agents need to be very relevant and sticky to their buyers and sellers. In parallel, we're already working on defining what our operations and business models will look like in these other related business segments. We believe that in some sort of kind of staggered approach, we will be deploying property and casualty insurance, title and escrow services, and property management, most probably at some point next year. So if you will, these are sort of the, 4 or 5 key segments of business that we're looking at deploying. Not to say that we'll stop there, just to kind of give you a window into what we're thinking about over the next 12 to 18 months. And I would say what's critical along this path is that, just like in your real estate business, that we focus on hiring great people, that we focus on integrating all of the operations, the technology, how the agents experience these services, as well as your consumers, so that we're delivering high value in a way that's really easy to use for our agents and customers, and then realizing those goals of customer retention, lowering our acquisition costs, and driving more value to you and your businesses, and therefore to Place as an enterprise. So I'll stop there and take any questions, Katie, if there's time. Otherwise, I'll turn it back over to you.
There is time if anybody has any questions about what Chris just presented. Looks like you might have nailed it there, Mr. Stewart.
All right, great.
Awesome. And it looks like Ben has joined us. So first of all, thank you. Thank you all for sitting through 2.5 hours with us. I hope the content was valuable, and Ben wasn't kidding. Ask whatever you want, because this is your opportunity to have a conversation with somebody who will be your partner. And so ask whatever you want, and you can hear it straight from the horse's mouth, as Ben says.
Hi, everybody. I hope it's been a powerful couple hours. I'm going to mail a camera to Brian and Phil and the other Brian and Rigo, and definitely to the Davidson property and to JC. I'm going to mail you guys a video camera. I just feel like it's polite for me to send you a camera. I know that. Oh, there we go. I forced Brian to come on. I got one person to get on the phone. You're so handsome. The other ones, I think you're probably all naked, or you're on a beach, or you're going potty. I don't know what you're doing, but you're not on camera. Oh, I forced another one. Rigo joins. My goodness, I love faces. We have a No Way Jose from the Davidson Property Group. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you can ask me anything, but before you ask me a question, just tell me what some of your takeaways were today. That's amazing. What I love most is the feedback and the interaction with this group.
I'll go. Hi, Ben.
Please. Thank you. Thank you, Holly. You're the best.
I think this was very good and process-based. I have a lot of friends in Place, and so I've heard bits and pieces, but I'd never comprehensively put the picture together. So I actually learned a lot more. So I didn't know as much as I thought I knew. So as a way of feedback, it was really it was very interesting, and it addressed questions of, for me, one of my big ones is massive disruption, the sense I have to, entirely blow up the world as I know it to join something new. So thank you for the way everything was organized today.
You're welcome. Who else has a takeaway from today or anything they want to share?
Hey, Ben, Paul O'Connell here.
Hey, Paul.
Just thanks for the insight. I think that a lot of us, well, I know myself, my partner Lisa, are looking at the aspect of what the future of real estate does look like. And I think that the big takeaway is the current model is under attack from a lot of different areas. Everybody from NAR on down is getting sued right now to try to realign that model and to make us their idea of what this should look like. So kudos to you, your team, for saying, well, we're pushing back. We're taking ownership back of what is ours and our own futures, instead of allowing the powers that be to make those calls.
I really appreciate you saying that, Paul, and hi, Lisa. Here's a kind of a vision statement that, I think Chris shared part of it too, is that we believe the pathway to the consumer is through the trusted local real estate professional. And we all know, we've gotten the phone calls, because I'm a 20-year agent as well, right? That when somebody closes a house, they call us and say, hey, who would you use for this? Or 5 years down the road, they say, who do you recommend for that? It's just been the case for a really long time. Now, here's why that's so important. if all of you are the pathway to the local consumer, then we need to create the consumer services and find a new way to monetize the transaction and share in those revenues and those profits with our agents and our admins and our partners. I want to make it so expensive for any agent on your team to ever quit that they're going to cry when they walk out the door. Like they should be giving up so much from their life, their health insurance, their stock options, their revenue from insurance renewals and mortgage applications. I want to make it painful for somebody to ever break up with you. By the way, I'm going to make it even worse for you to break up with me. It's going to be in such a way that you're going to, my goodness, I'm walking away from millions and millions of dollars. That is my goal. And I think that that is how we should treat all relationships that we have with people, is how do we provide so much value that we never want to break up with each other? That's what a real partnership is like. And when we run real estate teams, we are partners with our agents. We share in the commissions equally, 50-50. And we provide our value and they provide their database and their time. That's partnership. And that's what we're building here, is true partnership. So thank you. Anybody else have any takeaways, or you guys want to jump into questions? I'm open for any of those. Hi, Nicole Davidson, who jumped on camera. I like this.
Ben, Paul again. Question on with the ancillaries that you're incorporating, which are tremendous. How are your partners' revenue more or less divided between? I mean, is there a definitive shift away from the majority of the revenue being derived by the commissions versus the ancillaries?
Right now, I would tell you 98, 99% of all revenue from all place partners is from traditional commission. In the next 3 to 5 years, I expect to pivot that to be that our revenue is 30, 40, 50% from consumer services. I'll give you a rough example. We did a beta test on mortgage just for my personal Ben Kinney teams in Western Washington. We closed 469 loans in 1 calendar year, and we generated $3.1 million in net income. That net income for 469 loans, right? That's a lot compared to my commission income. Now, I had to share half of that with the joint venture partner that we partnered with, but that was still $1.55 million that I had to bring to the bottom line. That makes me feel very, very insulated, right? And I use that profit to buy more buildings and to buy rental properties and to do things that reduce my taxes and create protection, because at some point, you know, all of us don't want to work for the whole rest of our lives, but we don't have a real strong exit plan or business plan for how we transition out of not being in the day-to-day activities every day. But place is kind of part of that. Who else? Questions, comments, thoughts, jokes?
All right, I'll go with
Hey,
the
Ben,
question.
I'll jump in.
Okay, go ahead.
Please.
I'll wait.
Just a quick question about kind of that transition for us who are looking or who are already out of production, but just want to continue kind of the revenue stream. What does that look like?
Meaning you want to continue just building your sales team?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, some of our top operators do no personal production, and some of our top operators do a lot of personal production. But I think it just comes down to how we're wired and how we want to spend our time. You know, you're a MAPS coach, so you're kind of going to tend towards leading and getting people into production. Some other people are not wired that way, so they tend to do a lot of production, and we help them hire a director of sales that becomes kind of the MAPS coach for their business. But when you're wired to be a recruiter and you're wired to be a coach and a mentor, your primary focus gets down to just 2 things: bringing in people to the organization and making sure they never quit. And that should be what you do. And you set a goal like, hey, I have 5 agents today, or I have 10 agents today, and my goal is to get that to 20 or 30 producing agents. Like, one of the best examples of that in our world is Adelina Rotar in Austin, Texas. And we have lots of really, really phenomenal producers. But Adelina called me 6 years ago and said, hey, I'm looking for a career change. I don't know what to do. So I met with her. And she said, I think I want to start a sales team and partner with you. And I said, okay, where you want to do it? And she said, I don't know. We're going to find a new place to move. And she called me back a couple of days later and said, we're going to move to Austin, Texas. And she said, do I have to get my real estate license? And I said, no, not necessarily, but we're going to have to find some people that do have a real estate license. We did that in October. By January 1, she started with 11 producing agents. 2 months later, 11 agents. They were brand new, so they weren't, they didn't have a database. She didn't have a bunch of extra leads. We started from scratch. The first 4 months, they only closed 8 transactions. 11 people, 8 transactions, 4 months. On the 5th month, they closed 9 transactions in that single month. By the end of the year, they'd closed over 100. Last year, Adelina did over $6 million in gross commission income at a super high profit. And she built it from scratch. What else is interesting is in her particular office, we have 6 other top place teams in one real estate office in one city. And they're all competing. They all work together. They do client events together. They send admin and staff back and forth as they don't need positions, and they work together, and they're killing it. Jeanette Spinelli in the same office, luxury agent. She was 85 to 90% of her team's production. Now she's less than 20%. And she bought a house in Nantucket, and she's not even living full time in the state of Austin, but her team is still in that $4 million a year gross commission range and really, really high profit. She had an agent last month close a $18 million or $22 million transaction, which blew me away. I didn't know people. I don't have those types of friends, by the way. Like my friends don't buy $22 million houses. My friends, no, they buy homes on acreage. Half the time they're manufactured. That's my type of friends. Okay. What other questions? Holly, I think you had another one, please.
So one thing I do have is intermittent listening skills. So this might have already been stated, but I'll welcome your perspective on it. When people come and they have different models, different splits, different systems, what does that integration and change look like for people coming to place who are doing maybe something wacky?
We work with you individually to figure out what in your business is working and what isn't. We don't tend to go in and force anybody to change anything unless you're truly unprofitable. We probably just wouldn't partner with you if you weren't willing to make dramatic changes. But we would help make those together. Sometimes what we do is we grandfather 1 or 2 agents, but going forward, everybody else is on the new plan. And we just try to, over time, get you to where you should be. Our goal in our organization is to help you in profitability. Like too many conferences and events and people showcase top producers that have high unit production or high GCI, but no profit. They couldn't go to the Ford dealership with me and buy a new truck with cash, even though they make $5 million a year in GCI. I have no interest in that. I don't care how many units or how much GCI somebody has. It's profitability that we buy cheeseburgers with. It's profitability that we plan for our retirement, and it's profitability that we make investments with. And that's the metric at place that we focus on: per agent productivity and profitability of your business. So if you're doing it in a way that allows you to have those, that's awesome. I just know that I have a recipe that if you follow it, I can guarantee success.
Thank you.
Who else? Silent robes. Brian, thank you.
Hey, I had a question in terms of like metropolitan versus rural, because we're more in a rural area. How many place partners are more in rural?
Where do you live, Brian?
Victorville, California.
Yeah. What's the population?
About 400,000.
Okay. Yeah. I built my business in a town of 84,000. We have teams in middle kind of areas like Boise, and we have people in the middle of nowhere in Lake of the Ozarks, in smaller towns like Midland, Texas, and also in major metros like Dallas, Chicago, LA, and so on. It's pretty evenly split. We have people that have an average price point of 120,000, and we have people that have an average price point in Napa of over $1 million. So it's pretty evenly split.
Okay, thanks.
Few little tweaks that we do on things. in those changes of markets, but in general, we kind of run the same playbook.
Perfect. Thanks.
Good question. Yeah, we do have a team in Fergus Falls, Minnesota, who does 400 and something transactions. His team is like 30% market share. 30% of all homes in that market sell through his sales team, not a brokerage, his sales team. That's funny. Who else? Questions?
Ben, Paul again.
Yes, Paul.
Curious on obviously another, I should say in the last 3 years, we've all seen this market paradigm shift repeatedly to different iterations on itself. Currently, as we're moving forward and we're seeing the current inventory drought, as it were, how has your organization and your teams in general, is there one or two operational shifts or approaches to the business that they've made that has been reflected in what the current market environment is, if that makes sense?
Yeah, we are pretty fast to shift for a few reasons. One, I have access to every MLS in the US and Canada. I know when pendings go up and price reductions happen and closing dates and new listings come on. We know the inventory of every market. We know per agent productivity in every market, not just one. Number two, Goldman Sachs invested $100 million into our business for an 8% stake. I say that for a couple of reasons. One, they have no control over our company. They only own 8% and they have one seat on a 5-seat board, so they can't dictate anything. They are truly our partner. Goldman Sachs has some of the best economists in the world, and every month they give us economic updates about what's happening in all forms of the world. Like 3 months ago, they gave us an update on what was happening with Ukraine and what they thought that was going to have effects on the stock market and real estate prices and interest rates. They give us lots of information on inflation. So we have a lot of data that we can use. I have a couple friends in the industry that I say have predicted 14 out of the last 3 recessions. I want you all to think about that statement for a second. But when you have data, you can make reactions that aren't emotional. So what we're doing right now is making sure that we have the data, and that data is shared in real time back with our partners so that we can make adjustments. And then we get on the phone with your agents and your staff and we rally the troops when we need to, whether it's cutting expenses or doubling down on production or getting listing inventory. We find a way to get everybody rallied towards making the changes. So when the market goes down, we're okay. Now, I also want you to hear that the market's going to shift this year. I just got off the phone with one of the larger, these guys manage $60 billion of investments. They said, we believe, Ben, that there's over a 50% chance that we will be in a full recession by the end of this calendar year. More than a 50% chance. So we are looking at 7% interest rates this year. I guarantee it. And a market shift. Maybe we see per agent productivity go down by 20 to 30%. When that happens, we are going to increase our agents account starting now by 20 to 30%. If that happens, we're going to be fine. We manage expenses, we increase agent count, we double down on per agent productivity. We're going to do good. What I love about a recession and an economic shift, one, like Paul, you were probably in the last one, like I was in 2008 to 2010. It was an interesting time. I killed it. We did a lot with canceled expireds. We did a lot with FSBOs. We took a lot of listings. Our activities will change and who we focus on change, but we can do good. My favorite part about a down market is every agent becomes recruitable. Every agent. If you have a strong value prop, and you can offer them things that nobody else can, health insurance, revenue share, stock options, training, team within a team, the opportunity model, all the things that we offer, every agent in your market becomes recruitable. And that's what we'll have to focus on as the market shifts so that we can gain market share when everybody else is receding. Thinking about it all the time, Paul.
Thank you for that. forward thinking, I think that this, being in this space for 23 years, it's been interesting to see that the industry itself is so slow to change that it seems that the opportunities that present themselves are not optimized until 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road, which if you avail yourself at that point, you still might catch the fringe, but you never catch the heat. The fastball is just coming in and being able to ride that out into that lull, which then turns around and goes back up.
Yeah, well said. I talked about the 4 reasons why people join Place. There's a 5th reason that people underestimate, and probably a 6th reason as well. The 6th thing, like one of the things we're really good at in our organization is investment strategy, retirement planning, and tax mitigation. If you feel like you are personally paying too much in income taxes, you don't have a great tax strategy. And we need to get a plan in place where your investments mitigate taxes so you have more money every single year to invest. And it's one of the subjects that we help with in the company, because we don't want to just be in a position where we're just your business partners. We want to be your long-term partners, and we can't be long-term partners if we aren't thinking about each other's retirement, each other's wealth planning, and each other's tax planning. I think that's a big piece of what we offer. The 6th thing is the community, the value of being able to call an agent from any brand in the industry and get on the phone with them and talk to them about what they're doing and how they're pivoting and whatever might be happening in our world is massive. So you aren't just partnering with Place, you're partnering with the other hundreds of top teams from all markets and having access to Mastermind and talk to them. The cool thing about that is we know everybody's financials and we know everybody's P&L. So we're not taking advice from people who you have no idea. Are they a poor husband? Are they a poor spouse? Do they have no, are they a poor parent? Right? We have to take advice from people who we know in all areas they're good humans. I think Nicole almost had a question. Nicole, do you have one? No? Just
Ben, I have
Hi,
Jim here. What do you say to the person that we run Brevity and I like your all's culture. I like because you're a grinder and your common sense, and just hard work, business ethics. And so I've only been selling real estate 4 years, built a profitable business, puts me in better shape than I've ever been, but I'm a salesperson through and through. I'm not process oriented, and I beat my head against the wall building these systems. And I can look here and say, I can never build this. So there's a tremendous amount of value. Yet at the same time, it takes my breath away just because we built a good business to give half of it away. And at the same time, I can only see part of that comes through the lens of I work 70 to 80 hours a week now. And so when you talk about tripling and doubling production, my mind goes, it's hard for me to see you can have your cake and eat it too. Whereas, you triple your volume and then you have time to go to the lake on Friday. What do you say to somebody that's got those questions?
I think it's a really solid question, and it's I'm really glad you brought it up. Number one, I can honestly tell you that I have 0 people who make less money in a year than they did prior. Otherwise, our economic model wouldn't work. And if that was the case, Jim, people would leave our company and you'd see Place people that used to be Place people that are no longer, and you can't find those in our industry. So the second thing is it's not 50%, because we cover all of your expenses together and we provide an enormous amount of things at no cost: accounting, bookkeeping, legal, HR, the technology, the digital advertising, all those sorts of things. So by the time you're done and you walk through the economic model with us, we will show you that it's not a financial takeaway. If it is, I don't want you all to join. It's not a good relationship, right? It has to be economically winning for all of us. Second, the fact that we need to grow our business and we need to be better prepared for retirement, and we want to be able to take time to go to the beach and spend time with our family and our honey bunnies and those sort of things. means that you have to put systems in place and you have to build this into a business. You can no longer just be a sales professional forever. So I think our model actually better prepares you for both of those things. Now, if you aren't 100% convinced, part of the process of going through this with us is calling and talking to other operators. You can call any operator out there and ask them anything you want. One that I'd highly recommend you all talking to is Jacqueline. Jacqueline is in Vancouver, Washington. When I met Jacqueline, Jacqueline had a showing agent and one buyer's agent. She did 300,000 in GCI. Her first full year with us, Jacqueline did 800,000 in GCI. Her second year, she did 2 million. She took her eye off the ball and stopped recruiting and lost a few agents. So the next year it dropped to 1.9. Then she moved up to 2.8. And last year she did about 400 million or 4 million in GCI. Jacqueline in her first 3 years took home 1.75 million in net income just from her sales team. Last year alone, she took close to $1 million personally herself from a business where just 5 years ago, she was grossing 300,000. She's in a town called Vancouver, Washington. It's not a super busy market. It's across the water from Portland, Oregon, but it's not like a major metro. And she's built a team of 20 to 30 agents where she no longer produces more than a handful of transactions per year. Jacqueline and I have bought, and her husband Phil, we bought 3 commercial properties together. We bought a real estate school. She invested in the mortgage business. She owns part of a title and escrow with us, and she runs her sales team. We've dramatically changed the quality of her life and her financial trajectory in such a way that's unfathomable. Her and her husband flew down to Phoenix last weekend, and I took them to dinner, and I got to see the vacation rental property they just bought in Arizona that they're going to spend part of their time in and also rent it out when they're not here. So there's lots of those examples. So all of you don't have to take these comments from me. Take it from our other operators. Ask them anything you want. We have no secrets here. Other questions, comments, thoughts, jokes? You can ask me anything.
Ben, a couple things. We saw you about a month ago here in Phoenix when you guys came in for your 2-day blitz. Yeah. And just for anybody else who's curious about it, the content exceeded anything that I've gone to over 20 years in terms of even spending 2 or 3 times the time. And my 2 favorites were the Augusta rule and compressed depreciation. And per your advice, asked my our CPA about it, and she was clued in on both of them. So, but that's just kind of an example in terms of kind of what kicks around in your universe, which is, to me, pretty fascinating.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. We have our next Built How event in Phoenix, September 29th and 30th. And on the 28th, we have a full day place day for any place operators where we just hang out with the place operators and talk about our business and mastermind with just them. And then the next 2 days are the Built How event again, if any of you want to come. Any other questions? Thoughts?
Yes, question.
Please.
You mentioned that, I guess you share in the cost of the marketing. If there is a marketing that one of your partners needs to do you need to approve it first? Or does it have to be one of your own marketing pieces?
Nope. We're business partners. You have a vote, I have a vote. So I can't trump anything. I don't approve anything. But if you treated me as a business partner and you wanted to do something, I would assume that you would just ask and say, hey, what do you think about this? And I could go back and I'd say, you know what? I've seen 7 agents do it before. And every time they do, they kill it. They make a ton of money. Or I'll say, you know what? I got 3 partners that tried it. And every time they did, they got no results. And you say, well, Ben, I still want to try it. And I say, great. I don't think it's a good idea, but let me know how it works. In 30 days or 60 days, if it doesn't work, I'm going to super rub it into you. And the next time you're going to have to take my advice. If it does work, you're going to rub it into me, right? And the next time I'm like, well, you're right last time. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
But what'll be easier is if you have a marketing idea, you're going to call our design department and they're going to design it for you. They're going to need a landing page. So we're going to build a landing page on your website and we'll make that easy for you, right? So we facilitate a lot of these things to make it easier. If I can find a way to do it cheaper, I will help you do that. Like we bought the screen printing equipment. We bought the embroidery machines. We bought the business card printing that's really soft touch. We bought the machines to print the listing guides and buyer guides. We hired the digital advertising team. So all of these things we can get at cost. So we don't have to incrementally help everybody else make little bits of money. Place is about providing everything you need for your business in one place. And if you think of something in 6 months, like, gosh, hey, Ben, I really wish we could do that. I'll probably go figure out a way to do it. Or we'll buy the company. We have a lot of cash, so we can buy a lot of stuff right now.
Okay. In regards to, you send out, let's say, marketing pieces, you create landing pages. I have found out that salespeople, real salespeople that are out there selling, for the most part, are not good at managing little details on the computer, or even just checking what is going on the computer. What system, or how do we handle, let's say, a lot of emails coming in, or calls or texts coming back in, so the client receives a response the moment that they send the request, and at the same time the sales person or team is actually out there making calls or following up?
Well, it's built into our technology so that you as an operator can see every text that your admin sends and every text that your agents send, and you can coach them on the response so that you know exactly what's happening. John Maxwell says that he's a leadership coach and preacher, funny enough. He says systems make the ordinary extraordinary. And when you have a challenge in your life, what that really tells me is you're missing a system. And when you have a system, it makes all those things easier. What Place is a combination of systems and models, technology and business services combined so that those sort of things don't happen. So when you start running into that, you'll reach out to one of us and say, I'm missing a system for this. What do you recommend? I promise you 99% of the time we have it. The 1% we don't, we'll find somebody to make it for you. Make sense, Rigo?
Makes sense. Thanks.
Anything else you guys really want to know? I feel like Nicole has something to say to us or talk to us. Like she just has this burning question in her soul. She's like, I've always wanted to ask this. I just feel like there's one thing, just one, Nicole.
You just did such a great job that I don't have any.
That's it? Gosh, I guess I'll take that. Well, do me a favor, go into the chat real quick. Just watch it. That's my cell phone number. If you guys need something, remember I'm applying to be your business partner and you're applying to be mine. Just send me a text. If you want to talk about any part of the process, if you have questions, if you have concerns, just reach out to me. It's 425-766-8695. I'm around 7 days a week. I don't sleep. You can text me literally anytime. It's not going to offend me. And I'm here to support you guys in this journey. Whether you choose to join Place or not, we'll still be here and we'll be your friend. I want you guys to know that Place it's not a place for people that are struggling. The people that are joining Place are some of the top agents in the country, and they're very profitable and they're very successful. Right? We're an organization for people who don't want to do things alone, and we want to do things faster, and we want to be a part of something bigger. If that sounds like you should continue exploring the process. If it doesn't, we completely understand. We appreciate you giving us 3 hours of your day to explore and learn some of the models that we had to share today. So I hope it's awesome. Katie, you and the team did a phenomenal job. Appreciate you all, and we'll just see you all at Place. Excited to have you if you choose to be a part of our world. Cheers.
Thanks,
Thank
Ben.
you.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.